In the space of one interview, the Tories have shown why they can't be trusted with money. In one moment, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the man who holds all the purse strings, defends spending good money after bad, when we spent £500 million on Rwanda, and got literally nothing in return. And yet 5 minutes later, trying to defend why they have no money because of pandemics and war in Ukraine and all the other things that they want to try and point at. The reality is, they're trying to claim a win on cutting national insurance tax, but without increasing the income threshold. People are just going to be paying more tax by stealth. And this is supposed to be the party of fiscal responsibility. I mean, you've even got backbenchers now saying that the whole Rwanda plan is a gimmick, an expensive gimmick. Brendan Clark-Smith admitted that it's just a symbolic gesture.
Well, Rwanda's going through at the moment. You know, is that plane going to take off? You've got inflation's coming down.
Let's say a plane does take off. I mean, is that really going to get any extra votes?
I think it's a symbolic thing as much as anything. Now, deterrent, how much is that going to work? You'll see later whether it is. But I think certainly if you think things are going in the right direction, I think there's going to be quite a hoo-ha if that plane does take off at the time.
Just think about all the things that money could have been used on. And the Chancellor keeps saying that we've had to make difficult decisions. But taxes have risen to the highest it's been since World War II, public services are stripped to the bone, and they're quite happy just wasting taxpayers' money. 500 million on the Rwanda scheme, 25 million on a border processing centre that's now to be demolished. We need a general election, and they need to be out.
4,306 so far this crossing season, which is the highest number of crossings ever. The threat of Rwanda, which has been your sort of centrepiece policy, doesn't seem to be having any deterrent effect. Why are you still throwing good money after bad on this Rwanda thing?
Well, we're not. And first of all, I think the overall picture, I mean, it's a nice graph, and you're very good with your graphs, Trevor, every time I come on the show. But
we do them especially for you, Chancellor.
I know you do. But if I may say very gently that what you haven't shown is the overall picture, which is that crossings are down this year by more than a third compared to last year. And
to
why?
Be fair, I didn't say that the number of boats being stopped is that, but they've just got bigger boats. Yeah, the average number in each boat, I think, has gone up about 30, 40%.
Yeah, but the overall number of people down by a third. And let's be clear, why is that happening? It's because we have closer cooperation with countries like France, with countries like Albania. Always been completely open about the fact that we have had to put taxes up to deal with that pandemic. I think it was right to support families through the pandemic and the energy crisis. But the question now is whether you want to bring them down. Now, I look around the world, and I do want to bring them down, not just to put more money into people's pockets. That's very important. Hang on, let me finish. You've got to let me, you can't let me know. No, you can't interrupt me, Trevor. The reason I want to bring taxes down is because I look around the world and I see that the fastest growing economies are ones with lower tax burdens. So although I can't get all the way there in one go, I do think it's the right thing to start to bring down the tax burden.
You keep saying you keep telling me about what's going to happen next, but the reality is, for most people in most parts of the country, is that tax burden's going up. Particularly if you include things like council tax and so on, their disposable income is down. My point was that you say that plan is working. And, you know, you and I can argue the abstracts of it. But the truth of the matter is, for most people, it does not feel like that. And you've, as you've said 3 times this morning, have got to go to an election. This is not an election-winning proposition.
Well, what wins elections, because the British public are very smart, is if they can see a government has taken difficult decisions to sort out problems. And they know that we've had a pandemic, we've had an energy crisis. When you talked about disposable income, you know, people's household incomes, how wealthy they feel. Well, what the Office for Budget Responsibility, completely independent body, said at the budget is that we're going to get back to the pre-pandemic household disposable income next year, 2 years earlier than they predicted. So the economy has been much more resilient, but because of the decisions that we've taken, inflation has come down faster, and living standards, as I say, have actually risen over the last year. So that's the reality. I don't pretend that it hasn't been difficult. I don't pretend, you know, putting up taxes was one of the difficult decisions that I had to take.
Even their client media is starting to see the writing on the wall. Dan Hodges of the Daily Mail has said that the country can't go on like this for another 8 months. And if you don't believe me, well, you need to watch the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button. I'll see you next time.